flatter them, do you think?
I wouldn't say so, no. Purely and simply, if you look at the opportunities as well, there was the Lucas Moura penalty. Should have been a penalty, I thought, with the Phil Jones tackle. Dele, the one where he goes round De Gea in the second half. Way too honest, in my opinion. He should have been going down there. That was another penalty. And then the Harry Kane pulling off the back stick on Lindelof. There's another opportunity there. I think it wasn't one of those typical Spurs performances where they're popping it around and they're looking beautiful on the eye. But they dug in. I thought Alderweireld and Vertonghen were brilliant at the back. I thought Dembele put in a shift as well. All the players that, those nearly players almost in the summer. Yeah. Apart from Danny Rose was a little bit shaky, I thought, especially for 45 minutes. But it was a really, dogged performance, and the chances created came from them sensing exactly where Man United were weak.
At the start of the night, we spoke about we were intrigued to see Jose's team, and then when it came through, there was all sorts of rumours it might be Nemanja Matic playing in between Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. They ended up putting Ander Herrera there.
Yeah, they did,
Jermaine, didn't they? In that right of three position.
Space there, yeah.
Now, what did that serve to do, in your opinion? Did that in its own way?
It didn't.
Did that unsettle Jones and Smalling even more, where they didn't really know where they were as a
100%, 100%. I'm not sure. Smalling and Jones are capable of even playing in a three. If I'm totally honest with you, I'm not. I think there are certain systems where you have to understand, when you squeeze up, at what time to squeeze up, when you drop off, and I think they're so used to playing in a four consistently that they got their wires completely crossed today. It'd be easy just to throw everything, I think, at Ander Herrera. I also think he was out of sorts within his position. I found too many times, I think it was actually...
Yeah, Jones the other way around.
Jones the other way around and Smalling in here. But Jones getting dragged way too far over here, which then dragged Smalling.
And it left him a little bit isolated.
And he was just a bit like, what, do I go? Sometimes there was a huge gap here, and every now and again he wouldn't. It was, it was just everywhere, I felt, and it just didn't work. It really didn't.
I don't know about yourself. Many times over the years, I was asked to, when you have injuries, you're asked to go and play. I had to play centre-back once. I made my debut as a left-back. I'd never played there before in my life.
Yeah.
And I played as a left full-back. And do you know what? It was different. I got away with it and I enjoyed it. Then all of a sudden, sort of half a dozen games later, I started getting found out a little bit. And I worry a little bit for Ander Herrera, who came to Man United as a clever little number 8, and is now being used just as a kind of utility man.
He's a utility man, yeah.
And maybe tonight, against a very, very good Tottenham team that didn't start the game that great.
No.
Maybe tonight that was one step too far. I'll be really interested to hear what Jose says about that and the way that he deployed his team and the way that he set them up. One thing's for sure, this team, you mentioned at the start that Pochettino, he wouldn't have spent too much time tonight in terms of worrying about trying to deny Pogba, Lukaku or any of that. He wants his boys to go and play.
Yeah, it's just not his style. It's really not his style. And, Jose has his style and it's been proven and it's won him major trophies. So you can't knock it. But, Herrera's in there because he's worried. Jose's worried about something. So why he's in there? Whereas Maurizio, he named his side thinking, right, how can I go and win this game of football? If it doesn't work out, maybe I've got the wrong personnel or we've not done well enough this week. But nothing changes in his mind. He goes to win games.
Do you think that Herrera was in there maybe worried? He was thinking about this Dele Alli sort of movement off of Harry Kane. Whereas actually, this guy played pretty much up there. And I wonder if Jose expected Lucas Moura to almost play off of Harry Kane.
It was a strange one because also, a lot of the time you'd expect Eriksen to be floating around these areas, and he actually played more kind of around here somewhere, and he was making runs into the other channel. So there's a few things that popped up that maybe surprised Jose, I have to say. But the shape of Spurs at times was different. I thought Dele played a lot deeper at times, and especially in the first half, and then started making his runs in the second half. But the problem is, you can have somebody in there to stop all of these problems as much as you want. If there's no kind of cohesion between that defensive line, then gaps are going to appear. And that's what we saw eventually. We saw a breakdown in communication. We saw 3 players that don't play together on a regular basis. And eventually they got exposed.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. Let's have a look at how this all started in terms of the first goal. Interesting always interesting here. I mean, it's a fabulous header from Harry Kane. It's a brilliant header, and Phil Jones just gets caught under the ball a bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about players on posts, Jermaine, and what their role is. Because look,
yeah,
if we pause that there, Antonio Valencia,
correct, yeah,
looks like he's on a post to me.
He is on a post. Now, your job in this situation here, you're on the post, but any ball that comes, say, within this area just here,
yeah,
you can go and attack it, just so Lukaku doesn't have to get dragged out of that position he's in.
Okay.
But your job, once you come out of that position, if we just run it on. So as this comes over Antonio Valencia's head now, as that goes over his head, he needs to be thinking, I've got to get here, back onto this post. Because that's obviously the place where the danger is. Obviously, we run it on, he drifts out of nowhere. That's how I was taught that role.
Yeah.
I mean, and it makes sense because you need to be able to do both.
Yeah.
Right, you can't just have one function within a team. Otherwise, he's not doing anything there. So, I mean, don't take anything away from the header. From Phil Jones' point of view... How good is
that header, by the way?
Initially, I thought, wow, he seems to have a lot of space. I sympathise with Phil Jones. The ball's going away from him. It's got good height on it. The trajectory of the ball is not in his favour at all. He's actually with Harry Kane. But Harry's he's read the flight perfectly, and the header is just controlled. He's not trying to head it too hard.
No.
He knows exactly what he wants to do, and it's just brilliant.
I always think that's Shearer-esque, where he's backpedaling.
It is.
And
still
Phil
so
Jones,
with it.
Even though Phil Jones knows he's getting beat by that delivery, he must be thinking he can't score from there. He can't possibly score from there.
The only thing Phil Jones probably should do more, he needs to get his hand on him. He needs to affect Harry Kane.
At least be touch tight a little bit.
A little bit more. Get in his face. Do something to stop that being so easy for Harry Kane just to watch it onto his forehead.
Good point.
But apart from that, it was a really difficult one for Phil Jones to stop. But you break most set pieces down, there will be faults within it.
Once they scored first, Spurs, did you then feel that they would have the belief to see this one out, particularly where, bearing in mind those numbers we spoke about, where they've disappointed away from home against the big teams? Did you actually think that they would? Did you get the feeling tonight was the night they could go on and do this? I
think even at 2-0, you can be... I thought when Sanchez came onto the pitch, I thought United had a bit of life in them and a bit of spark, a bit of creativity. So I wouldn't say I was 100% convinced, but what I was convinced of was that even if United did score, that Spurs would have another chance, another opportunity, because I was not convinced for one moment with that defensive line of United. So there was always going to give up chances.
When we see the second goal, the first of Lucas Moura's brace this evening, we see this run being made, I think, here from Christian Eriksen, you're right, in that gully, where now you can even see Luke Shaw already is saying somebody's got to go with him. Personally, I think Luke Shaw should stay where he is.
Possibly, yeah.
I think he should in this scenario. But look, he comes out here and he then obviously offers, Jermaine, that area there for Eriksen to dart into. Correct. And it's pretty simple for Kieran Trippier to actually just roll this one down the line.
Yeah. The issue with
that is too easy to turn a team round. That is,
I think so. Yeah, there's too much space now for a player of Eriksen's quality to have that much time on the ball. You can always guarantee he's going to pick.
They got away with that one just. But the reason why we showed that is because you saw that first one, and the same thing happens again.
But it was identical, and I just think again lack of communication.
Here he comes again.
It's literally almost identical. Players getting dragged out, but he makes the same simple run. If we actually just pause it here just for a second. I mean,
where's the danger there?
I mean, you've got plenty of cover here. Plenty of cover. Let's just talk. All you got to do is watch him. Chris Smalling, you watch him. Or tell Phil Jones, or I think, is that Matic maybe? Drop off into the space.
Yeah.
No communication. One run. I mean, we might have to...
We're going to go back to that.
We need to see that again.
We're going to see that again. Well, let's just admire the quality of the Spurs goal.
Correct.
Great finish from Lucas Moura.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm going to pause that here.
Yeah.
Look at Ander Herrera's position. Now, when we're talking about players not understanding where they are, who they're with, and maybe the gamble that Jose had in playing him in this particular position just here. Right, how many yards is he behind Chris Smalling there?
He's a good 5 yards.
He's 5 or 6 yards behind. If you watch what Chris Smalling does, now you could argue maybe, Jermaine, that if I was Ander Herrera, I'd be thinking, I need to get here.
Yeah, get in line.
I need to get up.
Get up.
But he's playing out of position. But just watch Chris Smalling. Just watch what he does here.
I mean, that's...
To step there, look at that line. I mean, look at these two players. One's playing offside. Look where the other one is. I mean, I'm sorry, that is like amateur level
it
rubbish.
Really is.
That is.
There's two, there's a lot of factors here as well, because you take your line usually within your defence off your fullback, really, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
In this scenario, Chris Smalling he doesn't know what's behind him.
He's got no idea.
He's got no idea what's behind him, so he can't play offside.
Although he should know. He's got a midfield player playing as a third centre-half tonight who might be there.
But, within that scenario, he might know that, but he doesn't know if he's got a deep-running midfield player making a run. There are factors you have to take into account that he doesn't know as that first centre-half. He can't make that call. And Herrera, at the same time, should be saying, drop off, I'm here, I need you.
Yeah, screaming at him.
Correct. But again, you give players like Eriksen time and space on the ball. I've said it all day, he will find someone, he'll pick someone out. And Lucas Moura, who was arguably the best player on the pitch tonight, he sticks it away with real confidence. And it was amateur at times. It really was. I mean, don't like using words like that, with my ex-fellow professionals, but it really was. But I also feel they got put in a situation today by Jose trying to do something, and it nearly worked at times.
It did.
Too many times for me. It was
fraught with danger, and it looked like an accident waiting to happen at times. We flagged it up in the first half, and United got away with it. They did have their moments. Lukaku perhaps should have got them in front early on in the game. It didn't happen. In the end, they were well beaten. Let's hear from Jose Mourinho. Listen to the United boss there. Again, do you know what I do love about Jose is when he wants to tell us something, and he wanted to tell us there that his team are united, they're with him, they all fight together, and he applauded the fans, and now that I like about him. You can't, that's undeniable, that when he wants you to know something, he'll tell you. Obviously, we've had all the nonsense, really, during the week, and some of those press conferences where he's been difficult, let me put it that way. If you're a player and you hear your boss talking like that tonight, that's the sort of stuff that makes you feel like you want to do a bit more for him.
Yeah, and I do tend to agree with him. I don't think there was a lack of effort there from the players today, but Manchester United, is that what we're talking about now? Just going out there and working hard. I think the fans and as a club, they've always represented far more than just hard work and running around. That's a given. That's first and foremost. And yes, he says that they are united and they were together, but he also has a different message at times, which can be very disruptive to the group, where he isolates people like Bailly, like Martial has been through, like Rashford's been through, like Luke Shaw has been through. It scars. I think it scars the players individually as well. So it was great to see them dig deep as a team today and try and do something right. And I really believe they did try to do that. It's a question of whether we're doing that for the manager or whether they're doing it for themselves, I suppose.
0-0 at half-time, and we'd mentioned about Herrera and playing either side of Smalling and Jones. We'd mentioned about him playing here. At half-time, Jermaine.
Yeah.
And again, Jose questions those that are watching the game, and he questions people in the studio that might have played a bit of football at the highest level or whatever. He asks that question there to Jeff Shreves.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good few people that have played the football at the highest level and that are watching this Manchester United team and are also coming up with the same conclusions.
Yeah.
At half-time, he could have done away with this.
Yeah.
He could have done away with this when it was 0-0 and thinking, do you know what, it's worked to a point, but there might be a problem with it. There might be an issue.
Yeah.
I'll just make that switch. Obviously, that wouldn't have been the case, but he could have then, couldn't he, have done something more like that.
Yeah.
Sending a message out then all of a sudden for the second 45 minutes to say, guys, listen, Ander, you've done great. You're on a yellow card. We're going to make the change and we're going to go to something. It might have been a bit easier for these two in some ways.
Yeah.
Just knowing where they are. And
100% it would have been.
Not having to worry about someone behind them like we just showed just now. Herrera 4 or 5 yards behind them. Why didn't he do that? Why would he not have wanted to have done that? Because he's never been a manager, Jose, that sits on his hands thinking, I'll hang on, I'll wait. He's always been a proactive.
He has. And, sometimes managers put plans into place and it can be, it can be so far left and you kind of go, where is this coming from? But you go onto the pitch and you think, oh, this is actually working. It feels good. It feels right. And you get why you stick with it. What I don't get is when it is going so wrong and the player is on a yellow card and you've got the reputation of Jose where, you know, you're active. You make the right decisions at the right times. The reason why I mentioned it half time, because I truly believed he was going to make the change. I really did.
He would.
I really did. I don't know whether he looked at Ander Herrera and thought, you're one of my soldiers that I can believe in, that I trust.
Which he is, usually. He does carry out.
So I'm going to leave you out there.
Yeah.
But either way, I don't think he can deny it backfired. I don't see how we can look at this and analyse this game and go, you know, after the first 45-minute display where we looked pretty lively, we looked good and it could have gone either way, I got that right to leave it as it was.
Yeah.
He should have changed it there and